Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm the Cornish Witch. Hi, I'm the Cornish Witch. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a second video on my Book of Shadows, and I'm going to include the journals that I'm currently using. For those of you who've watched the first video, I have my Book of Shadows as a ring binder folder, so that pages can move around and I can add things into it so they fit in the correct sections. I'm the sort of person that if something becomes difficult, I'm just not going to do it. I'm just going to ignore it and not do it. So that was the problem I had with my Book of Shadows when it wasn't a physical book. I wanted to add things in on topics I'd already covered, but I wanted to add additional things to it, and I couldn't do that because it was all in a book and it wouldn't have been in the right order, and that really upset me. So I just didn't do anything. I put off doing anything, and since I made the jump to making my Book of Shadows into a ring binder folder last year, it's probably tripled in size, because now I can just add things in wherever I want, and it's great. It really works for me. So what I tend to do is I tend to create blank pages, and I'll just have pages sat there in the front of my folder waiting for me to use them. And they often look like this. I've got a few varieties in here. I think I've got, what have I got as well? I've got a slightly different coloured one there. And so I had a green one. I do have a green one, and that one there. Okay, so I make these using craft paper that I bought in the range because it was on offer. I'm not paying full price for craft paper, it's really expensive. So I currently have these two on the go at the minute. I really like these, especially this one. However, it's nearly run out, and I was looking at craft paper online and I decided it was just too expensive and I wasn't going to be buying anymore. But because I have a printer that is quite a good colour printer, I decided I was going to print out my own pages. So now I have a few pages that I've recently printed out that look like this, and I'm just going to trim off the edges around them. And I found these online on, I think, Pinterest, completely for free, and it's really pretty. I've got several pages like that. So once I've got my pages ready, when I find a topic that I'm interested in, I will then pick out one of the pages and get started. So I've also, normally in the front of my Book of Shadows, I'll have pages that I've started but maybe haven't had time to finish decorating and put in the right spot in the folder yet. So I currently have this one, which is on Cornish folklore. So as you can see, it's on that nice background. I've written in loads of information, and I just need to add in some decoration to that, which I'm really looking forward to. The decoration's my favourite bit, really, despite the fact that I'm not artistically inclined at all. So also in the front of my Book of Shadows, I will always have a little plastic wallet full of little cute images that I can cut out and use for decoration. So I have that there. It's quite a lot in it, and I just go through and cut out the bits that I want at that moment in time. So that is how I create the pages for my Book of Shadows. I just wanted to say something about this trend for having a junk grimoire or junk journal. I find the term junk really derogatory. A lot of people do beautiful, beautiful junk grimoires, but it shouldn't be called junk. It's not junk. And I think junk lends a really negative tone to it. Nothing you say, nothing you write is junk. It is valid to you in that moment in time. And when you come back and look at it in the future, you'll be able to read it and understand how you felt at that moment in time and why you chose to write about this. None of it is junk. and that term really upsets me. So I mean, if you are somebody who likes having a beautiful version of what you've done, what you've learned, that's fine. If you're the sort of person that when you were in education, you took notes in class and then went home and wrote them up all neatly and beautifully, that's fine. If that's what you feel comfortable doing, that is fine. But for me, I'm too lazy for that. Completely too lazy for that. And I always have the best of intentions. That was the problem. I always had scruffy notes when I was at uni and had all these intentions that I would go home and write them up and make them beautiful. Never did. Don't have time for that. I have dogs and horses and a partner, and I had a job, and so I have a full-time job now. But I never had time for that. So for me, if I'm going to do it, I want to do it right the first time. So if you have this idea that you are going to have your everyday book of shadows, and then you're going to have this beautiful book of shadows that you're going to hand down to your grandchildren or whatever, that is fine. But for me personally, my book of shadows is for me. It is personal to me, and I want it to be something that I can use every day. I want it to be versatile, and for me it's like a reference book. It's like my most used reference book. If I want to know about correspondences for a certain spell, or what colour candle I should use, or what moon phase I should use, it's all in the book, and I want to be able to use it as such. But because I use my book of shadows like a reference book, I don't really include many spells or anything like that in my book of shadows. I keep them separately in one of my journals, which is the next thing we're going to get onto. Okay, so I have here, first off, a really plain, bog standard spiral bound notebook. I scribble all over this. I use this for ideas about what I'm going to film in videos. I write little bits about different books. So I've got here some book reviews that I'm going to do videos on some of the books I've been reading. If I create a spell from scratch, I will write down all the details of it in this. And then if it was successful, I will add it into my spell journal. If it wasn't, then I won't. So this is just my kind of scrap notebook. Next up is this really adorable Winnie the Pooh notebook that I have had forever, and I found it in a box under my bed. I think my stepmother probably bought me this when I was a teenager, and it was too nice to use, so I didn't use it. It just sat blank in a box under my bed because it was too nice. It's got this really cute little tag on the side with a little heart, and the pages are really nice brown lined paper with a little Winnie the Pooh at the bottom. I love this notebook. I am currently using this as a journal for any workings that I do, any rituals that I do, anything like related to my practice that I do during the week. I write in this so I can keep track of what I've done and what date I did things, because I'm not very good at remembering dates. So that's what this one's for. Next up is this little one. I really like this. It's really pretty. I think it was £1 something in Home Bargains. You've probably heard me mention Home Bargains a lot in my videos because it's opposite where I work. So I pop in there quite often for candles and bits and pieces. So this one I'm currently using to record things in different books. So if I know I've read something in a book, but I can't quite remember what book it was in. You may have seen in other videos that when I like a book or there's useful things in a book, I leave little sticky note place markers in it. Oh, I have some here. Some of these. I'll leave one of these in the book so that I know where the useful information was. But I list the useful information in here. So this one isn't decorated like most of my books are. So I have, for different books, I will list useful information and any useful spells that I might want to try in the future. And last but certainly not least is this one. This is, I don't know if you can see it very well, it's like fabric covered, it's like a crushed satiny kind of fabric, like a purple iridescent-y kind of colour. I've had this book again since I was probably about 15 or 16. As with the Winnie the Pooh notebook, it sat under my bed because I was afraid to use it for a significant length of time. And I decided that this would make a really nice little spell book. So all I keep in this notebook is spells. Spells that, it used to be spells that I wanted to try, but now I only add spells that I have actually tried and have been successful. It is called my Book of Shadows spell book, and I add in lots of pretty pictures into this one. One of my favourite pictures, where has it gone, is this one. Some days you just have to put on the hat and remind people who they are dealing with. I like that a lot. So that is all my notebooks. I hope you have found this helpful and informative, and I hope it encourages you to go out and buy pretty stationery. I'm a big fan of buying stationery, so if I've been a bad influence on you and you've bought a load of new stationery because of seeing my notebooks, please let me know. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Blessed be.